Welcome to iAMResponsbile's Fireside Chat, exploring the use of Extension outreach and how it is a vehicle of behavioral change. I'm Bethany Zelt. I'm the Communication Manager for the iAMResponsbile team. We are sitting down with two experts in the field of Extension outreach, Dr. Amy Schmidt and Dr. Emmanuel Okello.
Yeah, my name is Amy Schmidt. I'm a professor in biological systems engineering and have research and outreach appointments at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And my work focuses on environmental aspects of livestock production.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Emmanuel Okello. I'm Assistant Cooperative Extension Specialist with UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine. My work location is in Tulare, the Veterinary Medicine Teaching and Research Center. And the focus of my research and extension is on antimicrobial stewardship.
Our purpose here today is to shine a light on the importance of extension outreach in our global efforts to not only spread awareness of AMR, but take that awareness to the next level and start implementing behavioral change that can lead to wise antimicrobial stewardship. So how would you define extension as a practice for listeners who aren't familiar with it?
So extension is part of any land-grant university, so where we have research, teaching, and extension. And I would describe it as the direct connection from our research to the end users. So whether that is farmers or parents, people wanting to improve nutrition outcomes or economic outcomes, there's a number of different specialists that work in those areas. And most of us do research as part of our appointment, and we deliver that to people through publications, through events, demonstrations, just any way that we can get that information into the hands of the people we want to be using it.
The only thing maybe I want to add on to that is the cooperative extension is broad, as she said it. It encompasses several areas of community life, maybe ranging from livestock production, crop agriculture, youth development, community development in general. So it's really broad-based, and the central goal is to extend science-based information from the land-grant universities to the communities that actually need and would benefit from that information.
So what would you say are the main audiences of extension?
The main audience is also quite broad. Usually, different categories of people within a community that is a focus of also the different aspects of the extension. For example, if we talk about youth development, so we are targeting young people who are the future leaders. So we're looking at high school students. We're looking at elementary school students and also high school students for youth development. If we talk about livestock production, then we're looking at the producers and the various stakeholders involved in the general supply chain of livestock production. So we're looking at the producers, we're looking at the veterinarians, for example, we're looking at the nutritionists. And when it comes to community health, so we're looking at everybody in the community, so we're targeting the general public.
Yeah, I would just reiterate, the AMR is an issue that everybody in the world should know about and that they could impact. And so we individually, myself and Dr. Okello, may not reach every person, but partnerships that we establish help us reach audiences that we otherwise may not reach directly in our programming. So
what do you think is the most unique element of extension as a tool for impacting that behavioral change? What can it bring to the table that something else might not be able to?
So I think what sets extension apart from the other aspects of the university system is our relationships with the clientele that we want to reach with our programming. And so I could go out and speak to a group of farmers about something, but if they don't know who I am and they don't trust that I know what I'm talking about, I'm probably not going to get the impact I want out of that program. And so to me, extension's about relationships, about people knowing you and trusting you and being familiar with your area of expertise and knowing that when you tell them something, it's coming from a point of wanting to help them and being research-based.
What would you say then is a challenge that you face when trying to reach that specific community?
So I would say one of the biggest challenges is that not everybody learns and wants to receive information in the same way, and not everybody adopts new practices at the same rate. So to go out and give a program, you might have one or two people that leave and go, yeah, I think I'll try that. That made sense. While 30 or 40 others that were there are like, not convinced yet. And so it's not a one-time program. It's your program evolves over time. And, I sometimes joke I could work my entire life and never get everybody out there to understand what AMR is and why that's important.
The key thing with extension is that we need to, as an extensionist, we need to establish ourselves as a trusted resource. We need to build trust and credibility. And it's an ongoing process. Building trust and credibility takes time. As you engage more with the audience over time, then we become established as trusted resources.
That's a very good point, is being visible, being at their meetings, whether that's, for me, working with the pork producers in the state or the dairy producers, or livestock or crop producers, going to their meetings and being there, even if I'm not speaking at it, they see me there, so they start to realize that, she cares about what's going on in our industry. And that way, when you do want to deliver a message to them, they know who you are already. And so I think, Emmanuel's correct that networking, working across disciplines so that you get to know clientele from different perspectives is really important. One of the things I think about is, Dr. Emmanuel, he has very good relationships with the dairy industry in California. My connections are kind of across livestock, cropping systems, and the environment, mainly in Nebraska, but I have a national program. So there's a lot of people that don't fit into those categories. So consumers in general, anybody who consumes food, anybody who's detached from agriculture essentially is not attending my programs probably. So if I want to reach parents who are making decisions about antibiotic use for their kids, I am not the expert that they want to hear from. They don't know me. They don't associate with my area of expertise. So I need to have partnerships with, say, the health promotion outreach folks, the ones who do meet with dietitians and medical professionals and community health departments to talk about risks and mitigation strategies.
For someone who's just starting out in extension, building a relationship of trust with their community could be one of their biggest challenges that they face. What advice would you give to help them begin forming those relationships?
Starting an extension program from scratch is not easy, and you're not given a lot of time to try to do that and succeed at it, in academia. So you really have to hit the ground running. You have to know what it is you want to do, and then you have to start building those relationships. And so from my perspective, I would say, again, it starts with getting out there so that people know who you are. I usually, when we have new extension specialists in my area of work, I go along with them to programs so that people see, we know Amy and that person's with her, so she must trust them, so we should too. I take them along to my programs. So again, they're getting that exposure. I try to give them opportunities to speak at my programs and just try to get them connected to all of the stakeholders that will matter to their future extension program.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what Amy said. The important thing is to gain trust of the community that you serve. And there's no better way of gaining trust of the community than being introduced by someone that is already trusted by the community. So you have to leverage on the network of the extension agents that's already out there and ask to be helped to be introduced to the community. And the other thing is to make yourself available, be out there, go meet people where they are at. If they're in their different meetings, organization meeting, be there, meet people, introduce yourself, and be available. Talk to people, listen attentively, and keep that communication going. And with time, you establish yourself. It's a process. Doesn't happen just in one go.
So while establishing these relationships, sometimes things go wrong. People don't like to be told what to do. So what are some warning signs that someone working in their community could look out for that can signal that something has gone wrong and they have either lost the community's trust or are failing to build it?
Yeah, the loss of trust is something that you don't want to happen to you and your program. But one sign I would think of, if there's lack of engagement, if you're trying to reach out, organize programs, for example, you're trying to organize a workshop and people are not showing up for your activities, then it's kind of a sign that there's decreasing interest in what you're offering. So if you can also engage and get feedback, if you do continuous monitoring of your program and getting feedback, you can get to know that there's a decrease in trust in your program. Those are kind of things I would think of.
Not every approach works. It's sort of a trial and error. And so, there's programs where I go out and I think, I'm going to really nail this. And then I see that nobody seems engaged in it. And so then I go back and I think, well, what could make it more interesting? We speak at so many different events. We get invited out and every audience is different. And so I feel like you kind of have to be ready to change things up on the fly if just sharing the information isn't working, telling stories, asking questions of your audience so that they start feeling like they have, they have a stake in what you're talking about and that it's important to them. And so, Dr. Okello is right. You can learn a lot from evaluations. People tend to let you know when they don't like something much better than they'll let you know when they do like something. And then just, as my teenagers would say, read the room. Understand if people are enjoying this situation or if they're kind of like, you've lost me. You need to take a different approach. So
if you were to give one main piece of advice to someone who's starting out in extension, what would that be?
Asking for help, I think, is probably number one. Align yourself with people who work in areas similar to yours, learn from them, and get out there with them to start getting to know the clientele that you want to reach and to start establishing those relationships. Anytime I see someone who doesn't necessarily thrive in extension, it's usually because they kind of sit back and wait for the people to come and ask them questions. They know I'm here, they know my expertise. If they need something, they'll reach out to me. And that's not necessarily the case. And you could go to meetings for a year or two before people there start to recognize you and remember who you are. So I think you have to be very proactive and you have to be willing to put yourself out there and market what it is that your program is all about.
Yeah.
Extension's about relationships. It's about networks that help you reach the audiences you want to reach. And in the case of antimicrobial resistance, Dr. Okello and I are two very small segments of that area of expertise that needs to be getting information out there. And so our ability to reach all of the audiences that we want to reach requires a lot of collaboration. And I'm super excited that we're doing this discussion for an international audience because we do have people that find us online and say, oh, what you're doing something similar to us, let's work together. And to me, that is sort of the ultimate demonstration of what extension is about, is working across boundaries because we all have a common goal that we're trying to reach.